What's up, guys? Thought I would show off a new thing that I got and hopefully install a couple things while I'm at it, and kind of show you how I install various items on a Glock specifically. But first I kind of want to show you some other things I picked up that I've been carrying around with me on my person, so like kind of like everyday carry stuff. First thing, I've got a Benchmade. This is their Mini-Griptilian in the olive handle and then the black blade. Really nice knife, really balanced. I heard that the full-size Griptilian was kind of blade heavy, so I kind of went with the mini, and I'm glad I did because this one fits my hand really nice, and I think it looks really cool. It kind of matches my Cry AVS pack in Ranger Green. It's got the black and Ranger Green kind of colorway, so kind of went with that. Really nice little knife. I've been using it pretty much just to kind of cut open packages and stuff like that. Nothing too crazy or gritty. But yeah, there's that cool little knife there. For my flashlight, I got this Fenix LD12 for Christmas. It's got 4 brightness levels via the button up front here. I thought this button would get in the way, but it's actually really tactile and responsive, so I haven't really accidentally hit it at all. But 4 different brightness settings, and then it'll go back down. So whatever brightness setting you leave it on, when you turn it back on, that's the one it's going to be on. If you hold it down, I think for 1 second, you get a strobe, which is pretty nice, and if you need that sort of thing. And then I think if you hold it down for a few seconds, it'll enter SOS mode. So pretty cool if you need those functions. It's really affordable. It was only I think $40 or $50. Takes one AA, so really easy to find battery. I've got Duracell Quantum in there right now. No issues with that so far. Really nice little flashlight. Really like it. I keep this in one of the outer pockets on my Cry AVS pack, so it pretty much goes everywhere with me since that pack goes with me as well. Nice little flashlight there. And then finally I picked up this Glock. Let's open this up. This is the Glock 43. I shot the Glock 43 and the M&P Shield pretty much back to back at the range over the holidays, and I really like the way that the Glock feels in my hand versus the M&P Shield. M&P Shield felt kind of top heavy and you couldn't get a very high grip on it, but I like the way that Glock, you can pretty much wrap your hands pretty high without getting like any sort of like slide bite or anything like that from it. So yeah, this one fits my hand pretty well. The one issue I have with it is magazine capacity. Magazines only hold 6 rounds, but I have a kind of part I'll install here in a second. But kind of the weird thing is you'd kind of expect both magazines to have the same extension if you're going to train with a weapon like this. And for a Glock 43, if you're going to carry one like that, you'd probably want both magazines to have the same extension so that every time you have a magazine in the gun, it's going to feel right according to your training habits. So I kind of felt kind of weird that they included 2 magazines but only one of each base plate, and I feel like most people will probably need the extended base plate, even though the standard base plate is kind of a little bit easier to conceal. But the Glock OEM base plate is just kind of a raised edge here to allow for a pinky extension, just to show that there's no round in the gun. It's safe. Most people will need that pinky extension. Even for me, I have relatively small hands, and I feel like I need it in comparison to the standard one. Kind of get a little bit of finger hang off there, so my preference is the extension. I would have liked to see that Glock's extension was a +1 extension, but it kind of makes sense so that they don't have to like design 2 different magazine styles or spring styles. If you do want to use the OEM magazines, though, I believe a company called Magguts just released their Glock 43 kit, which adds another round without changing the base plate or the magazine structure itself. But I was going to buy those, but they're kind of expensive, like $23 per kit, and it uses a weird Z-type spring, so I'm going to wait and see what other people say about them before I buy those, as they're kind of expensive. So for now, I'm just going to use these Pierce grip Glock 43 +1 extensions. So instead of like having like the cutout down to the magazine base, this has kind of a raised edge so you can fit another round in there. And then kind of like the standard insert goes in there. And let's see, I will probably wait to install these. These can kind of take a little bit of time to install base plates, but I may do a video after that. For me to install them, I usually use kind of like a hand vise to hold the magazine in place. And then I saw a video on YouTube of someone using like a punch to kind of push in. Let's see if I can get one of these base plates off actually. Push in pretty far down, and then he used leverage to actually force the base plate forward. Let's see if I can, actually that one came off pretty easy. And then you just have to get it past these two notches in the magazine here. And then you kind of want to put your thumb over so the spring doesn't send this forward everywhere. So that's the standard one. Put the extension on. Kind of have to push this one in first and get it level with the magazine base, and then you should be able to slide it on. And these are those notches that you have to get the base plate around. Let's see. So just push it back and then it should lock into place. So yeah, there's the +1, didn't take too long. And with the +1, the Pierce ones, they kind of actually continue the grip style. Let's see if I can get this to focus maybe. Continue the grip style of the Glock 43. See the style of grip. Pretty cool. It looks like it fits like kind of the Glock style instead of just being like a standard, you know, extension there. So it feels pretty good. +1 extension. I did see someone who didn't like kind of like the extended flare. Somebody actually dremeled this out, I saw on a forum, so I might actually do that so that it's easier to conceal, so you don't have this tang kind of poking out. But in comparison to the standard extension, probably about the same length, but you do have that extended kind of tail on the Pierce grip one. Alright, see, move this stuff out of the way. Next thing I'm going to do is install a new front sight. I'm not a big fan of the standard Glock sights, so for right now I just got a Glock OEM kind of night sight. So it wasn't too expensive. I think it was like $30, and I think the rear sight's only about $30. But this is the sight that I have on my Glock 19, which is pretty cool. But the sight profile is pretty high, and I kind of wanted to keep this one as low profile as possible. So I went with the standard height Glock tritium front sight there, and we'll get that installed here. And the tool I use to install sights, or front sights, I don't have a rear sight pusher, but I got this off of, I think, Amazon. Just a standard 316 thing that's really low profile at the head, so you can actually get into the slide to unscrew that. See if you can see that in there. So we'll just unscrew the stock one. Alright, so that is the stock Glock 43 front sight, and I'm pretty sure the Glock 43, they take the same front sights as all Glocks, so you don't really have to search for a specific Glock 43, Glock 42 front sight. I think the rear sight is the one they actually have to get the specific model for, but I think as far as front sights go, you can just use any Glock sight. The hardest part for these is starting the starting the screw in there, which is the hardest part for me on installing those Warren Tacticals on my Glock 19 that I have. Let's see if I can get in the hole and then maybe screw the front sight in a little bit first. Yep, wasn't too difficult there. And for most of these front sights, I kind of had an issue with getting them like straight with the slide, because they kind of move back and forth. It's not like a super tight fit, so you kind of have to play around with it until it looks straight. I had the biggest time getting the Warren Tactical one to look straight, because it's a relatively thin sight, and then I had to work a little bit to get it to line up with the length of the slide. So I'll probably mess around with this one later, make sure it looks good. But yeah, there is the front sight. Let's see if I can dim the lights a little bit so you can see kind of what it looks like. Alright. You can kind of see it glowing. Hopefully this shows up on YouTube pretty well. But yeah, can barely catch it on camera. But it's going pretty well for me out here. Should work well enough. I may replace the rear sight as well. I haven't really decided what I want to do as far as rear sight. I just know I kind of want kind of like a night sight style for my Glock 43 that I intend to carry. I have a concealed carry class coming up soon, and then after that I'll get my permit, and then hopefully start looking into holster options for the Glock 43. Get this thing put back together for now. There's that, and the Pierce magazine grip here. Get this stuff out of the way, and then hopefully this kind of trio will be my everyday carry once I get everything figured out. But for now, I'm going to be test firing the Glock 43 with some different defense ammunition. I've been researching them pretty extensively recently. I've pretty much settled it down to either the Hornady Critical Defense or the Federal HST 147 grain. Been using, I think there's a YouTube channel, Ammo Quest. I've been watching a lot of his videos for a defensive 9mm, and then I think Lucky Gunner has a nice database for various rounds that they've tested as well. So that's pretty much it. Kind of a long video. Apologies for that, but hopefully you enjoyed the content. Thanks for watching. Please rate, comment, and subscribe.